This is so cool. We are both on the same track right now. We don't have to worry about no echoes or anything, guys. How y'all feeling today?
Let's see, is it live? Let us know if you guys see us. I'm going to go over here and try
Check it out and see. I don't see it, so I don't know how that works. So, guys, we're testing out a new way to actually go live here to see if we're actually live on all the platforms.
Yeah. Like, are we? Because it says streaming, but I don't. I'm using my
Which,
other phone. So
hello,
just
hello,
say,
darling. Okay, so we are on YouTube. So it does not, I see your Instagram, it doesn't say anything, which is fine. So I guess that pops up after.
I know it like disappeared. So now I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
what?
pops up after. Hi, Maria, darling. We are trying to make sure we're all streaming at once without the echo. So we've been trying some different things out to make sure we don't have to drive y'all crazy because the echoes drive me a little crazy. Make sure you get the best sound as we're doing these podcasts. So we're testing this out to make sure you guys can hear us. I know I do see it. So Maria did respond. So thank you, Maria. So we are on YouTube. I can check to see if we have went live on Facebook or Instagram, any of those.
I don't see us on
Well, I mean, we just
face.
gonna roll with it and we gonna see what's gonna
Yeah.
happen, guys. Because I mean, we live and we
It's,
learn. So we're gonna try this
it's,
out today. Hi, hi. How are
and we
you?
are on Facebook. We are on Facebook. Oh, that's a great. I'm like,
Okay.
hi guys. All right. This is fun. So and we're on Twitch. Okay, thank you. Looking fine. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
does look fine. Tell her again. Tell her again.
You
Tell
guys,
her again.
you need friends like that around because
Yes.
sometimes like, oh, thank you. You're so sweet. And can we just I have to shout out Tracy's smile and having people around you who, even when they're battling things or dealing with random, I'll let her tell the story because it's funny, um, getting a smile on your face. So, are you one of those people? And I'm just going to tell you right now if you're like, it's easy for you, I'm going to say one of my favorite quotes: positive emotions take work, negative emotions work you. Let me say that again.
There you
Positive
go.
emotions take work, negative emotions work you. You're going to do work either way. So after 2 brain surgeries, I would rather do the work to have a positive experience and flip things to be, a little bit better. Just kind of like how Tracy
Correct.
actually.
I had to write that down so I can remember that because that's going to start the topic. But, anyways, guys, as Tawnie was saying, it's just a beautiful thing for us to be able to choose to smile in spite of the things we go through. And that takes us to what we're talking about today. As we're choosing to smile, having that positive emotion, it's what helps us get through our day. And we're talking about two different type of people here. I want to use this as an example, and I got it from a word I was listening to as the happy heart and the despondent heart. So the despondent person, think about it as if it's raining outside. You may say, "Oh my gosh, another gloomy, rainy day." Or the happy heart person, I'm going to say, "Oh my gosh, thank you, Jesus, for the rain, because now I don't have to go stand in the sun and water my plants." So that's just an example right there to look at. So when you think about that in relation to us as being stroke survivors and this warriors and trying to learn how to live and love life the best way, I choose to smile in spite of. Tawnie chooses to smile in spite of, as I'll let her tell you her smile over this past month that she could have turned that into a frown, but she chose to smile, still show up and still move around. I'm choosing to smile, show up and still move around. So as Tawnie said, I'm going to slow myself down because I'm getting my fast talking, that I'm smiling in spite of the things that I'm going through because I'm choosing to make that decision. So what happens is I'm choosing to say, I'm getting up every morning and today is going to be a beautiful day. Guess what? I locked myself out of the house. And guess what? Today is still a beautiful day in spite of I locked myself out of the house in 107-degree weather with no access to get in, no phone, no anything. But in spite of, guys, I'm still here, still smiling, still breathing, and we good to go. So that is that happy heart. So look at my situation as stroke survivors. Nobody knew anywhere that says, "Hey, we're about to have a stroke." We didn't know it at all. Absolutely did not know we were about to have a stroke. I had a stroke at age 37. Literally woke up one day thinking I'm about to go to a fitness show. Boom. I wake up 3 days later for them to tell me, "Hey, you just woke up out of a coma because you had a stroke and now you're paralyzed on your left side." Did I may have had a thought like, "Oh, that sucks. That's a little sad." But the life that I chose to live after that is to say, "Hey, I'm going to be happy in spite of, because I'm breathing, because I'm able to shine a light on other people. I'm able to share my experience with other people to make sure they live their life the best way. I'm able to speak on behalf of the things that I went through, of how I helped myself heal, how I helped other people heal, and how it's brought me light to be a part of this beautiful community of warriors." Because I can look at it in the sense that if I was never a survivor, guys, and it's been tough, I would have never met my beautiful sister here. Did y'all even know we were related? She's all the way across the country. My beautiful sister here, we would have never, ever met. She would have never known that her mom had me and just moved me into another place. Listen, but because of this, we both became a part of this community. And it's like, oh my gosh, my sister, all of these years, where have you been? And it just brings me so much light. So that, girl, that's what we're talking about. It's just a beautiful thing with that. And Brandon wants this beautiful redhead to start speaking, Brandon. So I'm gonna go ahead and let her speak right now.
First of all, I love that we're getting more people talking over on YouTube. However, we can be kind, okay? So I already had to block some people because I will just not even tolerate, like, "Why aren't you working? What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah comments. First of all, women are allowed to look beautiful. We don't shame whatever kind of work they want to do. We are two young stroke survivors, and we go live on Thursday and we talk about different topics, okay? We both talk fast. We will take turns. You can ask questions. We will go over topics. Here's the thing. I love what Maria said. She said, "I'm smiling despite I did not want to go out, just feeling comfortable today staying here." So even if you haven't gone through a stroke, the thing is about being around people who have gone through life-changing things, tough battles, deal with pain. We call ourselves survivors or warriors for a reason. So just because we look fine and look cute in a dress, in our workout stuff, and smiling, there's stuff that we deal with. And talking about it can help you get through those times, but also realizing, like, my biggest thing was I go, "Oh my God, I got a second chance." And I used to get really angry and upset about things. And it would get me like, and I was supposed to keep my blood pressure down. And the thing was, is like, it literally gave me headaches. It hurt. And it was like, and also I felt this overwhelming gratitude of having a second chance. So I have been a person who tends to go optimistic. However, guess what? I bled in my brain for a week. And all of that did was cause a lot of depressy and stressy. How I react to things, and when I tell people like my inner thoughts, 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Holy, whoa, had no idea." Because I sit here and I retrain my brain. I focus because none of us get extra time, okay? So the thing is I would rather have more good experiences and fun, and like, I will have fun. And I've said this even if I'm in a freaking cardboard box. And that's where I'm going to hit on, because Brandon asked, "Did you experience pain?" Abso-freaking-lutely. When your brain is swelling, I had built up spinal cord fluid. When your brain is swollen and you have extra fluid in there and it's being crushed, you feel it every second of every moment, every breath. And I do not wish it on my worst enemies, because it is so hard, because you can't, I mean, your brain and your head is everything. So you can't watch a movie, you can't do anything to distract yourself from it. But if you look back, like, I still would put a smile on my face. I also didn't record a lot of that stuff. I used humor. If I go back, almost all of the videos of me with a patch on my face are me being silly with some filter sending it to my aunt. You would have no idea that I was on bed rest in excruciating pain, not sleeping, and all having all these side effects from the steroids and feeling puffy and all of those things, because yes, you deal with it, but after a while, when you have like a chronic illness or stuff like that, you don't want to just sit in it. At least I don't want to. So that's why, like, I was at an event a couple weekends ago. I was at the San Francisco Marathon and the Expo. I did not run in it, but I was there on my feet. Luckily, I sat in a chair a lot, but I was out. Okay. I was socializing with people. I was advocating. I was raising awareness for the whole weekend. We also went to a Giants game where I was advocating. Meanwhile, I had an ovarian cyst. I was bloated. I was uncomfortable. When you feel like that, it's like you don't want to be most people would not want to be in a mermaid tail talking about the thing that almost killed them. But for me, I turned that pain into my purpose. Like, if I had to go through all that, at least if I can give some things back, it can help someone. And then I'm going to let Tracey talk. And I know we have like a whole bunch. She has to talk about pain, and we got some questions and stuff. So keep them coming.
That's awesome. I'm gonna acknowledge. Patrick said anger is two peers. Amen for the second chance, and I truly agree and appreciate that, Patrick, because anger is two peers. As Tawnie said, the whole process of even it takes so much to actually be angry and actually be mad. But the thing is, as we're talking about, some people are still dealing with the fact of, hey, why did I have to have a stroke? Why am I dealing with this? Why do I have to suffer after this? And at the same time, we get approached by people saying, well, you guys have it easier. As we started off this conversation saying, it's choosing the way we learn to live our life. I choose to wake up as the happy person. I choose to wake up to appreciate life, to say thank God for a breath of life. I choose to wake up in spite of and still say, I'm going to have a smile in spite of how I may be feeling, because you ever thought about it? Your smiling to somebody else could literally make their day, change their life, change their thought process of saying, hey, I thought about taking my life, but this person that doesn't even know me smiled. Or I was scrolling through something and I seen this big smile and I was like, let me see what they're talking about. So like a smile can literally change a life. So I choose to smile versus to be sad, versus to be mad, or versus to complain or wear my complaints, wear my pain on my face. I would definitely choose. So it's like I choose life over death. If I look at that situation, that may seem harsh to some of you how I said it, but I choose life. I choose to live a happy life. If I lived around and showed the things that I go through in my body, on my face, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is a sad, sick person. But guys, this is life. And again, that's what we're talking about. Where is your mindset? How do you go about your day? And if you, while we're talking about these different situations and examples, I want you to really examine yourself, to think about, where is your mindset? How do you react to certain things? How do you look? What is your outlook on things? Like, you got the bigger picture as to say, hey, it happened. I'm going to figure out a way to get through it, or it happened that's just going to take everything out of me. So it's about a choice, guys. At the end of the day, it's about a choice. It's our decision to bring this happiness to ourselves. And when I say bring this happiness, yes, your body may be in pain. You may have ailments going through your body, but it's still about smiling to say, hey, my smile is going to bring light into my situation and the next person that I might run into, guys. That's what this is about. That's right. She said, get your mind right. I work on it daily. And that's what it's all about, guys. So if we started today and you said, oh, I never thought about what my mindset is. She works on it daily. And it's a daily process. It's not something you can say, as yes, I started off my day at 4 this morning and said, oh, gonna have a beautiful day. It's going to just be sunshine and lights and sparkles and all of the above. And guess what? It still is. It still is. Sunshine, sparkles, and light. So, and again, that's the decision that I made.
And it's honestly, like Leslie said, it is a daily practice, but it is like minutes. Like, I'm telling you, because sometimes, like, I woke up not feeling great. So I could sit there and stay in it. But what did I do? I went to my guided meditations. Like, I use tools. So when people celebrate me for my energy or my positivity, it's the best compliment. But I also know that I'm like, I work on it. Like, and what's cool about sharing that publicly is like, you guys can see back, and you can even in a live sometimes, or like, it was cool, my interview with Greg, AVM Superhero, I like started to say something and I caught how I was talking about myself, and I was like, and he was like, wow, that was some like shadow work, like you caught. I was like midway, I was like, oh yeah, we're working on that, like I don't talk about myself that way anymore. And yeah, Leslie said it, seconds, minutes, hours, days, whatever it takes. So one of my favorite things to do is, that's why it's breath work, because you take a deep breath, and I try and remind myself, like, that's a second chance. Like, you don't need to have a stroke to have a second chance. Like, you don't need to have a midlife crisis to decide, like, that's it. Like, but also give yourself the grace to know that, like, it's not just going to happen overnight. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, I have a great thing. And then, like, and it will happen, I swear. And I do this a lot. I'm like, oh, you're funny. You're making me work on the patience. Like, I already don't feel good. And then what, I just stubbed my toe and now I spilled my coffee all over the floor. Like, boom, 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 boom. And you can laugh about it, which I like to do. And then I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. So it's crazy how the moods can change. And that's honestly why I loved working with kids. I used to work in special education. And that's something incredibly beautiful about children. You can watch them. They go through every emotion so passionately. And so they can be so upset and devastated about something, and then it's over, it's fine, we're through it. So if we can just like be a little bit more our inner child in that way and realize, but like, don't let your, I heard it really cool, it was like, your emotions are like a child. You don't want them driving the car, and you don't want them in the front seat. You want them in the back seat so you can still see them, and you can still like let them have their moment, but like they're safe. And I was like, wow, that's really great. So like, feel your emotions, don't mask them. We're not telling you, like, toxic positivity does not help anyone. You got to let it out if you're just sitting there. And we've all done it. I did it once for a while, and it was just like, and then all of a sudden you will crack. Someone will be like, how you doing? And you're like, I'm fine. And they're like, you're clearly not. And then all of a sudden you just have, and probably, I don't know who else can relate, you do that, the just like the tears that start streaming down, and they're like, how do you feel? And you're like, I don't know if I'm angry, sad, I'm everything in between.
But see, that also goes back to, as we said, with the mixed emotions as survivors. And I would say everybody deal with these mixed emotions. As we said, we're comparing the infancy and childlike characteristics. But in reality, if you've never thought about it as a stroke survivor, we have infancy and childlike characteristics as we're trying to relearn how to live this life. Yes, we are adults, and most of us are, but at the same time, and like we said, stroke can happen at any age. So as I'm speaking of us, we are adults, but after we've suffered and went through this stroke, we became, and we've had more adaptive infancy and childlike emotions and characteristics that we had to battle and figure out how to sometimes put them in the backseat, and how to, and I'm going to say how to sometimes put them in the backseat, and how to sometimes to say, hey, I'm going to embrace it and put it in the front seat. And when I say put it in the front seat, because to look at a stroke survivor learning how to re-walk, re-talk, move the fingers, move the legs, all of the things. Look at a child when they're learning how to crawl. They explore different things. As adults, we look at it as crazy as, what do you mean explore? I'm an adult. I should know how to walk. But when we had that stroke, we've had that brain disconnect, guys. We are now a child. We are now an infant learning how to crawl, learning how to walk, learning how to, when you go to grab something, you're like, my fingers aren't working. That's what the kid is doing. Hey, how do you get this figure out? All of those things. Remember a child. If you never had your own children, go around an infant and say, oh my gosh, when they try to discover their fingers, and this is what we had to go through as getting back life as a stroke survivor. So guys, so all of those things, I mean, it's a beautiful thing at the end of the day, but it could be one of those things that if you have it in the front seat too long, it could be one of those things that, hey, that's not so beautiful that
It
I
can
really
be,
have those.
and it can be tiring when you feel like you're just a constant project. Like, you're like, I'm always working on something. Like, so taking a moment to just smile, watch a movie, do something. So I said, like, sometimes like a new hobby, trying something. So it's like new.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, I gotta say that out loud. I love that. She said, I heard something recently. Ask someone how they're doing twice. Our first answer is usually always, oh, it is. The second time you give the honest answer, honey, Lord, geez, don't ask me twice. Ask me once. Ask me
That's so
once and I'm
good.
going to keep on moving. I mean, and that's the truth with so many of us. Because at the end of the day, you may be having that conversation with somebody like on a going or a pass, and you're like, hey, I'm good. Because guess what? You are good because you chose to be good. Now, when you go to the second time, then you might feel yourself digging deeper in the emotions. Like Tawnie said, you'd be like, oh, I'm good. And then they keep bothering you. Like, hey, where do these emotions come from? I think I'm happy. I'm sad. I don't know what's going on. It's an overload. And that's really, guys, what that is called. It's life. And it's not just for stroke survivors. I mean, but we are stroke survivors talking about these things that we go through. But that in turn is life for so many of us. Like, are you still asking me this again? Guess what, guys? That's what we're talking about today. We're going to choose to make a decision to live a happier, smiling life, to live the choice to say, hey, in spite of what we're going through, we may not be where we want to be in this recovery phase or in our healing phase, but we're going to choose to smile. We're going to choose to make the choice to have a better attitude, to go into situations better, to accept things better. I mean, and it's just going to make you feel better overall. So that's what it's about.
I love it. And I know you have a doctor's appointment, so that's why we were trying to keep it short.
Yes.
I was like, that was the perfect way to wrap it up. You know, I can still keep talking, but please come back, join us. And we do also do some working out too. So
Tuesdays, guys. Tuesdays,
we totally
work out
live.
live. I know. We spaced out. You can catch us live on Tuesdays to work out with us. We can do modifications live. If you rewatch the video and we've already done it, you can leave us a message and I can show you some modifications after. But it's always definitely best to catch us live. So therefore, we love you. So therefore, we can make sure we give you those things ahead of time to show you how it's done.
And everyone, just appreciate you guys working through all the kinks and stuff. So I know usually we're on Instagram, all the different platforms, so we will get it figured out. But hey, YouTube and Facebook, love you guys. So
Yes.
Make sure, you go over to the other things because we are eventually going to be over everywhere. So appreciate
But
it.
I'm happy because they won't have to hear double voices on here, guys. So we're trying to make it good.
We're going to do
y'all
it.
don't have to hear the double audio. So thank y'all. We love y'all. Thank you for the support. We will see